Border Chronicles. Good morning. Hi, it's Thursday, October the 6th. I'm your host, Jesus Chugasa. Thank you for joining us. 24/7 Laredo is an original free and independent news site that talks about issues affecting Laredo. And between now and the end of the campaign, we'll be bringing different candidates to talk to us about their issues and about their races and their thoughts about the future of Laredo. Today, we're very fortunate. And by the way, please like us on Facebook or press the subscribe button as well on YouTube so you can keep up with the episodes that we're showing. Today, our first guest is Bobby Santos. He's our former UISD superintendent and candidate for UISD school board. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Judge, for inviting me to be here with you. I think at this point in time in my life, I want to continue to be of service to our community, specifically to United ISD.
How many years were you superintendent?
Well, I was superintendent 16 years. 16 years. I've got over 46 years in education, and I'd worked for United 36 years. My goodness. I came in when United was small, 5,700 students. When I left, I think it was over 40,000 students. We were the largest employer of the county. Yes. And I think I've got a lot to offer with my experience that I've had. I think the commitment, I'm committed. I'm not here to be superintendent. I was superintendent. Right. I retired. Right. But I think I can work with the board members in a team of 8 and also work with the superintendent. I mean, you
definitely have the experience. Let me ask you a quick question. Where exactly is this precinct?
Well, the precinct is in general, is both sides of Lakeside and the Loop, off of Loop, so 20.
Alexander,
where Alexander High School is, right. That area, Alexander Estates, where Newman Elementary is, Casa Verde Road, okay. Where Gutierrez Elementary is, all the way down on Hillside, all the way to Chaparral. Then it also picks up the base area. Right. Then it goes south where Cuellar Elementary School is at.
Wow, all the way to
Colonias on 59. Then the Colonias on 359. So it's a large mass area.
Is this the farthest end of UISD, the UISD lines?
No, well, it is on the east side.
On the east side of town.
On the east side, both 59 and 359, yes.
So like I said, you've been a superintendent for so many years. Are there any highlights there that you can let us know about?
Well, I think there's a lot of highlights, and I say we, because I never did it by myself. I was blessed to be able to have a lot of really good administrators to work together, and the board. You look at academically, we were an A-rated district when I left for 2 years. We're one of the top-rated districts in the state of Texas. Yes. And I'm glad that United continues to be an A-rated district. Definitely. I think we've set the direction that they're going, and they continue, which is a tribute to our teachers.
But when you were there, I mean, you oversaw the construction of how many schools?
Well, we passed the bond in 2013. Right. We've just about completed. It was 10 campuses, 4 ninth grade, 3 middle, and 6 elementary schools.
You ushered the growth of UISD.
Of UISD, yes. And we removed the majority of the portable buildings. As a matter of fact, I was just seeing last month where they were selling some of the portable buildings, which I think the bond issue was able to meet those needs. And at the same time, I think we had promised our taxpayers that it was going to cost about 12 cents to sell the whole bond issue. Actually, it was even less, probably closer to about maybe 6 cents.
I think you had some really good community leaders as well who helped you with the Blue Ribbon committees that you established. And these Blue Ribbon committees actually help determine the priorities and the costs.
Yes, Judge. We had over probably 200 parents, community members of the district that were involved in the Blue Ribbon Committee. And they're the ones that really set the priorities, set what were the needs of the district based on data that we provided. And then we went and sold to the community. Right. And before, we tried to pass a bond election and didn't pass. Yeah. But I think we did a better job getting the community involved. Our board members were committed, our taxpayers and our parents, and I think it's been good for our kids.
Well, you pretty much have finished the this master plan that you had.
Yes.
I think the last piece was the water. Was it the water?
No,
The swimming pool, or is that one of them?
No, well, that was one. That was something that wasn't even on the bond. We were able to save some money and work with the
monies that you had.
With the county land fund and monies that we had. So that wasn't even part of the part of the bond. On the bond, I think now this year they opened up Molina Middle School.
Right.
And then the last school to be built, and it's under construction now, it's on the Mines Road. It's Ramirez Middle School to be able to relieve Washington Middle. So all the other schools have already been built. And obviously our students are utilizing it.
That's a crying achievement, I think, for all the school boards of the last 10 years. All your members and the Blue Ribbon committees for being able to get all this done in a community effort to get this approved.
See, the other thing that's important is we also set up a Blue Ribbon and Bond Oversight Committee where we have to present to the Bond Oversight what it is that we're going to go to the board for approval. They had to approve it first. Then we would go to the board, present it with the approval of the Bond Oversight Committee to get these things approved. And you've got some tough people in that committee.
I know you do. I know. I know some of them.
Yes.
How big was this bond?
Well, I think the Bond Oversight Committee it was 7 members. Each member would appoint one from their district or anybody. So once a month we'd go to them and share with them what it is that we're looking at to make sure that it met the needs of what we told our taxpayers. Okay. And we should be held accountable, and we were held accountable for that.
People think that I know everyone's thinking about the mayor's race, and everyone's thinking about particular other races, but the school board races are never really given the same attention as they should. Right. Why does it matter to the public out there who your school board member is?
Well, I think it's extremely important. I think all of us somewhere time we went to school. And our teachers were the ones that really prepared us for our future. And I think it's extremely important that we have the best schools that we can provide for our students. Our expectation was that if they graduated from United ISD, they would be able to do anything that they want to do and go to college, armed forces, work. That's what our role is. And I think our administrators and our teachers really are outstanding. I think they've done a great job in preparing our students. And that's what our role is. I mean, we're the beginning of life for everybody. And if we have a successful school district, you've got people moving into the city that want to come to our schools. And we have expressed that.
Well, we're going to, this is a very serious point, because the public needs to understand that really, while the mayor's race is definitely very important and all the city council races, it just seems that they never pay attention to these smaller races of the school board. And yet the school boards are the ones who not only charges the taxes, but also they're the ones who raise our kids, educate our kids.
Absolutely.
And really that's more long lasting in my view.
Yes.
Than the mayor's race, in my view, in many cases. But we're going to take a short break at this time. Mr. Santos will be right back right after this break.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the show. We have Mr. Bobby Santos, former superintendent at UISD, who's now running for school board, place
District 3.
District 3, which is we talked earlier, the Alexander area and other areas down to the east side of Laredo. Now, obviously what you all did back in 2013 to 2014 in terms of the Blue Ribbon Committee and the way the bonds were spent, you pretty much covered that area. But there's new challenges with this thing with Uvalde and other matters.
Right.
What do you think are the challenges now at UISD?
Well, one of the things that I think we're really proud of is we're probably about the only district, where we were at one point in time, that has licensed peace officers at every single campus. Part of the bond election is to be able to do like a Vista view, where people, before they walked into our building, were able to have two doors in between safety issues. I think we need to continue to see what's out there. There's a lot of programs that are out there to be able to identify if someone has a weapon on campus. We need to continue to do those emergency drills, working very close with all the agencies. We had a very good relationship with the FBI, the sheriff, our Laredo PD, Border Patrol, Customs, where we did those safety runs to make sure that we're ready, we're prepared, we've got our students, safe. So we got to continue to work on safety. I think it's extremely important for students and
would
staff.
You consider, I think the state of Texas has decided to do unannounced once a year visits to check on the safety issues at some schools. Is it something that you think UISD should actually implement now and just check on a monthly basis all the doors and check all the safety?
We used to do that, and I think it is very important that we continue to do it, because it allows us to check all the doors to make sure, number one, the back doors are the locks working.
Yes.
How do we come in? Let's make sure we trust staff not to put a little rock in between the door
that's the way it
out there. And yes, it is important, and I think we were doing it. I'm sure we're going to continue to do that. That's very important.
Okay. On the issue of curriculum and matters dealing with those issues, do you see any potential challenges, or do you see that maybe we should add additional more curriculum to the
Well, I think our curriculum is really good. I think staff that we have now have.
Well, you're the one that scheduled most of it. It was all under your deal.
Yes, and I think we've done well. I think on last year, our district also made an A rating, which is extremely important. I think we also need to work on mental health, both for students and I think for staff. Probably more counselors. More of the
there
health
was a
issues.
report that came out just 3 days ago that 80 to 90% of all the teenagers are under stress.
Yes.
Now, we can discuss all kinds of stories about why they're really under stress. They shouldn't be under stress, but they are under stress.
Right.
Is that something you think that the mental health programs should be expanded at UISD?
Absolutely. I think we need to look at adding more staff to be able to support our students. And you're right. I think I've got grandkids, and it seems that every day they're stressed out, and we need to work with them. It's on a mental issue. Yeah. Also with our employees, because our employees under a lot of pressure to be able to succeed on the classroom, be able to do all the things that we need to do to take care of our students. So yeah, I'm definitely in favor of that, expanding that.
Wow. So, and what about in terms of school teacher pay raises and things like that?
Well,
that's always
a board member is a little different than superintendent.
Yes.
Okay. I think as a board member, we definitely need to look at, number one, where are we on staffing? What is it that we can do to be able to curb some areas, to be able to give our employees, all our employees, additional pay raises?
I understand that even UISD still has a shortage of teachers.
Yes. Well, the key here is I think the state has made it very difficult to become a classroom teacher. So it is hard, but I think the ones that we have, they're good. I think we need to pay them. We need to retain them. And those are things that we need to do to keep our good staff.
One of the candidates has said, running for governor, has said that I'm going to give them a pay raise every year. I think that's probably a good thing for a teacher, would it not, given the incentive?
I think it'd be very good, but I think, it goes back every governor, at least the last governor that we had. I mean, they promise all these things to our staff. And at the end of the day, even though the state has a very good rainy day fund, which is really more like a savings.
Right.
And that definitely can be used to give our employees pay raises also.
Right. We do have, they have the, unless I'm wrong, the federal program funding there that compensates the compensatory fund.
Yeah, well,
That's
sure.
UID has more than $40 million has been sitting there for years.
Well, the issue here is on federal. I mean, there's a lot of restrictions as to where you can use it,
Right.
and I think the state needs to step up. And I know our senator has really worked hard. And both our representatives, Richard and Tracy, have worked well to be able to improve our state funding. But it goes back to state funding.
Right. Well, it just seems to me that this shortage is going to continue, and something needs to happen.
Absolutely.
Because you're not.
And I think one of the things that's important, I think as a board member, you've got to work very close as a group with the superintendent. I think that's what I bring to the table. I bring the experience of working well as a group. We've done it for the last 16 years that I was here as superintendent. And I was superintendent. I don't plan to be superintendent. I've retired. But I want to help the community. I want to help our school district.
But now you like I said, you did transition the community for 10 new schools. Do you foresee any more growth in our community?
Definitely. As you look throughout our community, and the majority of the growth is in UISD. You got all these new houses all over. I think we need to look at the Mines Road. Hopefully, whenever they're able to have that road to connect 35 to the Mines Road, then I think we definitely need to start looking at possible high school on the Mines Road. And I think we need to look at areas where, we've got some schools that are loaded back again that are enrollment's pretty high.
So you think maybe a new high school in the Mines Road would be a good idea?
Very possibility, yes, the future.
And what about the east side of Laredo?
Well, I think the east side, I think we need to look at where United South High School is on the numbers. Mm-hmm. It very well could be that we look at boundaries to be able to increase the enrollment at Alexander, which is the area where I'm at.
Yes.
I think we need to expand the vocational programs.
Right.
We build a real nice facility for Alexander. And I think we need to look at LBJS. And again, that's not my area, but I think it's a united district.
Yes.
It's no north and south. It's a united district.
So we have vocational programs in the north side, but not in the south side.
Well, they don't have a building as to what.
Just for that.
Yes. And I think it'll be part of a next bond election.
Oh, good. When is that one going to be?
Well, I mean, obviously it's, board has to get together with their, Blue Ribbon Committee to see, is it the right time to look at those things?
Right. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yes.
We'll see what happens. Again, where is your district again?
Well, my district, basically, if you look at areas, it's the Lakeside area, the Alexander High School area, the Newman area, the Gutierrez area, Base area, and Cuellar Elementary area.
If they want to talk to you, if there's a voter out there who wants to ask you a few questions, yes, or somebody wants to volunteer in the campaign, where do they contact you?
They can contact me at 956-740-8899.
Well, thank you very much, Bobby Santos, former superintendent running for school board place 3 at UISD. I suggest to everyone to make sure that you're registered to vote by October the 11th. That's the last day you can register to vote. Election, I think early voting set for
24th.
October 24th. Make sure that you find out where you vote and go out there and vote at that time. The mayor's race is as important as the governor's race, but so are the school board races, which are more closer to home because they are the ones who actually raise our children. So thank you, Mr. Santos, for being here.
Thank you, Judge, for allowing me to be here with you.
We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with another member who's also running for a different type of school board. We'll talk then. You need to do that first. for the Laredo College Board of Trustees. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here with you again.
Yes, thank you for making it again. How are you doing?
We're good. Good. The last time I was on the show, I was, an
an
analyst for you.
Yes, exactly. Actually,
so
you're
now,
actually an analyst also and I'll talk to you about that and say football and faith.
yes, I
You're
am with
also part of that
Goyo
as well.
Lopez with that group.
Yeah, so
Goyo's got a great
I want to
program.
ask you, now you're running for school board now. It's kind of like a delayed start for you?
Yeah,
why is that?
We had some commitments that we were going to fulfill. It was, I kept seeing where the campaigns were going in terms of who was going to run. And so we waited to the last minute to put in our paperwork to do it, believing that maybe the current office holder was not going to run.
Right.
But by that time, I had already made commitments to help some of the campaigns. We have a marketing company, a full service digital advertising firm. And so we had some commitments. I had some personal commitments that I wanted to take care of.
Yes.
So I said, you know what, we're going to do this. We're going to run for 30 days. We're going to run really hard. So October 8th is kind of our launch date, so to speak, where
Right.
you'll see our signs come up. You'll see my profile.
But your signs are slowly coming up now.
Yes, we put up the first sign yesterday at my house.
Yes,
my kids all gave me a big round of applause.
What did your wife say about it?
She was a little reluctant at first. I've been out of the political arena, the official political arena for now, going on 12 years.
Right.
And I had given her a commitment that I would serve in committees at some point, but not right away. And so about 2016, I started to get on committees and get re-engaged. Keep Laredo Beautiful. I'm the president of the Keep Laredo Beautiful board right now.
You are very much involved with the city of Laredo.
Yes.
You've got projects or committees.
Absolutely. When I was on council, we had the District 6 Advisory Committee, and that was formulated to help me get good counsel on the issues. Right. So there were engineers on there, there were lawyers on there, there were business people. We had some liaisons to a couple of the banks. Both the police and fire had folks that would come in and sit with our agendas, and we would go through the entire agenda at the committee level first before it came to council. So we had this great opportunity to have great resources at the table to make good policy decisions. So I currently help Councilmember Martinez with his policy board, Martin Martinez.
Yes.
I've had great conversations with Councilmember Cigarroa, Councilmember Perez on just different projects that I feel real strongly about, traffic and transportation. But those are all on the city side.
Right.
I was seeing that there was a void at the college as well. And the college is my alma mater. It's where I went to school after I graduated from high school.
We all went to Laredo College. We have a good place.
We have our stories about LJC before it became LCC and now LC.
Yes.
And even, my opponent was my accounting professor back in the day, 40, years ago.
Years ago, yeah.
And so I have a love for LC.
Right.
It is our hometown college.
Yes, exactly. It is. It's our home college.
Mm-hmm.
It's where all of us we all went to our first classes there.
Right. And, and when you look at the college and what it represents for the city of Laredo, it is a place where a lot of us who were coming out of high school, who didn't have the resources to go to a major university, didn't have scholarships or grants, we went and got our education started at LC before going on to the bigger universities, typically because we all went to work. We made some money, we saved some money, and then we went on to the bigger universities. Right. And a lot of my friends did it that way. It's
still the same story now. Yeah. It still is a great bridge to the bigger universities.
It is. It's still a great bridge, especially if you struggled in high school. This is a great opportunity to get the foundation for studying habits and attending classes.
The character, the discipline to study.
Exactly.
Big. Now, but why Laredo? Why is it important for people to run or participate at Laredo College on the board?
Well, you got to look at it from the fundamental point. And the first fundamental point is you need to have a servant's heart for it. You want to be a public servant. And whether you're running for city council or, school board or a college board or any other of the partisan offices that are available for people to run for, our government, the entire country was founded on that citizen public servant, right?
Exactly.
It's a government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
And it's not a salaried position.
And it's not a salaried position. So it's important because at the college, right here, right now, like I said, it's our hometown college. It's going to afford a lot of our students who don't have the ability to go on or the desire to go on to a major university. It's going to afford them a place where they can start and get either an education or a trade certificate
Yes.
or one of the other training certificates that are available to them. It is a place where a lot of folks go for continuing education.
Like I said, Laredo College is a basis for most of us. I obviously went to Laredo College. Most of us went to Laredo College before we went to the university.
Yep.
And so it certainly is a very special place. And the good news also, it seems to me, because the trustees don't get paid at Laredo ISD, at UISD, or they shouldn't get paid at UISD and Laredo College. That tends to lead for people who want to participate to be community servants.
Agreed. And for me, my campaign is pretty much self-funded, although I did, get phone calls and some folks who are going to be donating to the campaign at some point. We'll file our report this Friday, so people will be able to see. We want to run a very transparent campaign. They'll be able to see that, primarily it's my money that's going in first. And then as people who support my platform and support my vision for the college will come in and support us. And if that doesn't happen, if I'm the only guy who's put into my campaign, then I feel even better about
because
that.
you obviously are not beholden to any particular
That's
group.
correct.
Now, let me ask you, Laredo College, as opposed to the school districts, they have places, they also have places, but you're running citywide or just a district on the north side or south side?
The UISD and LISD are both single member district school districts.
Okay.
The College Board is an at-large seat. So citywide, I'm running everywhere where the college has a footprint or takes in folks.
So the people in South Laredo are going to get to vote on
Absolutely.
your race.
Yes.
The people on Del Mar are going to be able to vote on your position.
Yes.
And the people from the west side,
Everybody.
Civic Center area will be able to vote for you.
That's right. And that's where you're going to start seeing my signs in all those locations so that people know that they can vote for us in Mines Road or down 83, Cuatro Vientos,
Right.
La Diriera, wherever it is, you'll be able to vote for us.
Now, the school districts, do they have a runoff?
Yeah, school districts are a race of plurality. So that is whoever gets the most amount of votes wins.
Okay.
The college is not that way. The college has runoffs. So
So
if there were more than two candidates in my race, the
Right.
potential for a runoff would be there. But there's only two of us in the race.
so therefore, we're going to know who is the next
Board member
board member for that particular
for
place.
place 3. That
Yes,
is correct.
We're going to find out real quick. That's good.
Yeah.
So you're running for that particular
For
position?
place 3.
For place 3.
Yes.
Are there the races on Laredo College as well?
Yeah, there's place 1 and place 2 are also up
And
in
they're
the
also
cycle.
competitive. Or
They're
just-
competitive. There's the place 1 has two candidates, so you'll know who your board member is at that point at the end of the night, November 8th. But place 2 has, I believe, 5 candidates, and the likelihood of a runoff in place 5 exists. And so then they'll have an
Okay,
election.
so that particular one.
that
Now,
one.
it's my understanding, though, when you look at the ballots, the first ballot you're going to look at, I think the voters need to understand that the first ballot is going to be the partisan races.
Yes,
with
the statewide,
Republican, Democrat, statewide.
federal
people,
races. Yep.
Yeah,
All of
right.
them.
All those positions are going to go first.
Right.
Then what they're going to see probably is going to be the city of Laredo ballots, which will be next. And those will be the mayor's race and city council district races that are going on. And then finally, the third one will probably end up seeing the LISD races or the UISD races or the
College board.
the Laredo
College boards. I think
So-
probably the college board goes
you're all
first.
going to be in the back pages.
Yes,
And they
down
people
ballot.
need to understand
Yeah.
that they need to finish the whole page, the whole ballot.
Correct. I mean, that's a problem with the
Mm-hmm.
tremendous amount of undervote, right?
Yes.
You'll see, 40,000 people voting for the governor on one side, and then when they get down to the ballot for trustee, there's only 12, 15,000, 20,000 people voting. Well,
Yes.
what happened? Well, they just didn't finish that page. Just kept
What we're going to do at this point, we're going to take a short break,
Okay.
and we'll be right back here with Jim Benmares, who's running for place 3 at Laredo College Board of Trustees. College, a candidate for OCC or Laredo College Board,
Mhm.
place number 3. And we're just talking off the during the break, talking about their new college president. So, what are your thoughts concerning Dr. Mita Ramirez being appointed as head of the college?
You can see the smile on my face. It's one of those things that I really thought the college did well, hit it out of the park with Dr. Ramirez. You know, she is bright, articulate, she's energetic, she's homegrown. She is from Laredo, educated here in our schools, understands this community's politics and its needs, has the ability to maneuver through all of the organizations and the nuances that come with living in Laredo. It's uniqueness that Laredo is. But over and above that, she brings this breath of fresh air to the college, right? This new energy that's coming. And I want to be part of that. That's one of the reasons I wanted to run for this place, because we want to be the voice for the next generation, for the new generation.
I'm glad you pointed that out, because I had an opportunity to meet with Dr. Ramirez a few days ago. We sat down for some other stuff that was pending. And she struck me as someone who really wants to learn and who has all those attributes you mentioned, which to me, she's perfectly suited to run Laredo College.
I agree.
And so I see a lot of future in her. I think she has the potential to carry us the next 10, 20 years. She's the next generation of leaders. And so I'm glad that she's on board.
I am too. And again, being about the same age, so we have a lot in common. We knew each other back in high school as well. One of the positive things about Dr. Ramirez that I really think is going to be great is that she has such a kind of a passion for education and for the youth of our community.
Right.
Couple that with, her experience at TAMU and all the places she's been, her involvement in all the nonprofits. I think the only thing that she was lacking was a board that had a lot of experience in policy, budget, and that was open to her leadership. Right. And
I think that they coalesced around her, and it was a unanimous vote for her, and so certainly it bodes well for her for the future.
Right.
And so I think to hear that Laredo College seems to be
moving in the right direction, right? And so I want to be a part of that.
But the board though matters, because obviously last spring the board voted to do away with the sports program,
right?
Which was controversial.
It is.
Again, we got rid of the Tecolotes just a few days ago,
right?
Baseball, and here we are getting rid of baseball again,
right?
Tell me a little bit more about that issue.
Well,
it just seems to me that baseball seems to be getting the hits, and yet they don't have the
no pun intended, right?
Yeah,
getting all the hits, but no pun intended.
Yeah.
Part of that dynamic, I think, of what's happening with Sports Laredo is, our ability to support these venues and support these events. That's certainly true of the Tecolotes. But there are other things, underlying conditions that led to them being dismissed, so to speak, or the contract not being renewed. Obviously, the stadium was one issue. And
do mention the stadium.
Right.
The stadium has structural issues,
correct,
that need to be dealt with, and that's something that I think all of us would agree that if there are structural issues that may affect the enjoyment,
right,
for us to be able to sit down, walk through,
and be safe,
yeah, then we need to deal with that first.
But again, at the heart of that also was, just issues with the arrangements that were made. You have one overlapping company, STX, and then of course the Tecos and the disagreements. Contrast that to what's happening at LC. LC really is having a budget issue with its sports programs. That's really what's at the heart of this. My goal is not to go in there with a strong attitude that I'm going to restart the athletic programs day one. No. I want to do a good evaluation. I want to realize, come to the point where I can research and recognize what is it that drove the college into that position. Because you got to remember that at one time, LC, LCC, LJC had nationally ranked athletic programs. Its basketball program in the 80s and 90s was nationally ranked. Coach Siegler and all those folks earlier on in the 70s and 80s. We had a nationally ranked tennis team, and we were attracting tennis players from around the world to come play here. I think that was important. We had great softball. We had a great baseball team ranked as well. So ultimately, you're going, how does a program that is so well respected, so acclaimed, and so, has so many awards that dwindle down to where the college feels like it's not a big bang for our buck, or we need to invest our money elsewhere? My position has always been that an athlete, a student athlete, is very well rounded, giving him an opportunity to both learn and get an education and also play sports, whether it be intramural or intercollegiate, or even some of these clubs that they have now where they go and play against other universities and they help do some self-fundraising to do that. I think those are important. And I think we ought to expand on that. But the first thing, the first reason the college exists is for education. The second piece is to give everybody an opportunity to grow.
It's a cultural center.
But it's a cultural center.
And it also,
exactly.
You have to be able to bring not only education, but certainly part of the education is the arts, the drama, the athletics as well. But I know that there's only so much a budget can take.
Right.
And so
But my
concern,
Judge, is this: at what point does the college board look at the arts, music, some of the other things the college offers, and says, well, bang for buck, that's not what we do. We shouldn't have an orchestra. We shouldn't have a theater program. We should have just education or just trades.
Martinez facility,
right.
which is a first class.
So we're down
first
this.
class place.
So we're down this slippery slope.
Right.
Where do we start cutting? And so I'm concerned with that. So having a lot of experience in a multi-billion-dollar budget at the city of Laredo, when you've got at the time that I was on council, $800 million. All the debt that we had that we were able to retire, the fact that our bond ratings went up every year while I was on council, even though we were reducing our taxes and doing those things at the time. And again, there's a whole bunch of rabbit holes we can go down on effective rates for tax. I want to make sure that when I look at that particular issue, that I take into consideration all the possibilities, all the reasons why this made sense or didn't make sense, and then come back and make a decision on how we go forward. That said, you have to recognize that sports, athletics, is a path to education for some of our students. It is how they go from being, unable to afford a college education.
Yes, that's a scholarship.
And that's a scholarship.
But I think certainly, but would you consider bringing it back at one point?
I would, but I would also put my money where my mouth is. That is, I would go out to the community and say, we need some of the alum to come back and scholarships that go to these programs.
Exactly. And you also need to have the right people to run these programs.
Absolutely.
I don't know what the issue was there, but I mean,
in the age of declining budgets, in the age of declining budgets, Judge, you have to have efficiencies. You have to have well-run programs, but then you also have to have community buy-in. Same thing as I was talking about the decos. The attendance, bringing people to the games. Right. There's a part of the college experience that's going to be missing for a lot of our students who go to LC.
Yes,
because they're not going to be able to be Palominos and sit in the stands with their green and their gold and cheer on their team.
The way we saw it, we saw it in baseball, we saw it with basketball.
Right.
So I'm hopeful that one day we can bring those things back.
I agree. That said, again, one more point on that. We have facilities.
Yes.
That aren't being used. How do we incorporate that? I think collaboration is the next issue that I wanted to talk about.
The thing is that so you're open to possibly bringing it back
Absolutely.
At one point when the budget constraints are not there,
and supporting it as a board member,
and also possibly creating a committee of community leaders to raise that money to be able to cover the
expenses of
doing that.
Right.
And hopefully having the right people to run it.
My marketing background, my networking background, my time on council, the relationships I built while I was on council with the business community, not just here, but externally. And then looking at the college, with Dr. Ramirez, look at our community and say, what does our community really need in terms of skill, right? The Valley does real well because they have trade schools and the ability to train machinists.
Well, that takes me to the last question I need to ask you. That's the issue of the Laredo College's collaborative efforts, if any, between themselves and other agencies or entities. How would you support more more of those types of efforts?
Absolutely. You just had a guest on a little while ago, former Superintendent Bobby Santos, who's running for UISD board. Phenomenal individual in that he created one of the first relationships for the early college with LC and with TAMU, and then went back and reevaluated that program. This is kind of the I guess, a testament to his skill and his ability to manage these types of programs. Looked at it and said, we're getting far more bang for our buck with LC. Instead of splitting the north to TAMU and the south to LC, why don't we send them all to LC? They've got 2 campuses. We'll send them here and here, and let's funnel our college bound students into these early college programs. It'll help the college and raise their enrollment. It's a benefit to us, a benefit to them. And for bang for buck, the cost of that education to the school district and to the students that were involved in that was far better bang for buck. And so he made a decision to collaborate with them. I see the college continuing to do that and grow that even further. Looking at the other school districts that are around the district, I mean, they're on the area, Webb County Consolidated, looking at Carrizo ISD, some of the others, and saying, how do we?
That's a great idea.
Especially now that we've begun to learn virtually.
Yes.
How do we incorporate technology? I'm a big technology guy.
People are not constructing buildings. They are actually doing virtual learning now.
Right.
And that's the future of, to me, I think that's the future of learning.
Look at what we're doing today. We're having this program, filtered on social media, over the internet, the technology, the ability to do this,
Yes.
And have these kind of discussions.
It's not going to happen anymore behind a
brick and mortar
buildings. It's going to have to be like that. So
virtual learning.
Do you see then a bright future? You want to join this? You want to be a part of Laredo College?
I want to be a part of the college. I don't want to get elected to that position.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of that position because I want to serve. My election to it has 2 components to it. First and foremost, I want to give as much attention to that position as possible as someone can. Having my own business and being able to set my own hours and adjust my schedules, that's one of the best things I think that gives me a leg up to do this as well over some others that may be wanting a position in the college. The other one is I'm going to be a 1-term board member. I have no desire to serve beyond 6 years, because if I can't contribute all that the college needs in 6 years, I don't need to be there any longer.
Well, you brought up a topic that I've talked to a lot of candidates. No one has ever told me that you just want to run for 1 term.
That's all I want to do. But there's
this,
a reason.
By the way, is a 6-year term. It is
Right.
not a 4-year term or a 2-year term. This is 6 years.
Right.
So,
if it were 4 years, I might think about it, because again, my experience on council, your first 4 years, I mean, you were laying the groundwork for everyone to do. A lot of those projects take 2-3 years to get off the ground. So I definitely wanted to consider that. But 6 years is plenty of time.
Right.
Heck, 18 years, you should have already fixed the college from one end to the other. If you're going to serve on there 24 years, I think you should have made a difference in the college by now. Instead of going backwards, we should have gone forward.
Right.
So looking at that, I'm going to serve for 6 years. I'm going to be a 1-term board member because I don't want the
That's
pressure.
refreshing when I hear that.
Yeah.
I never hear that of any candidate.
And I don't want the pressure or the influence of reelection
Right.
to cloud my ability to do what needs to be done for the college. So I don't want to go in there thinking, well, if I make these people mad or that person mad, or if I vote this way or vote that way, I'm not going to be reelected.
Yeah.
I have no desire for that. So I don't want to be influenced by that need for reelection. And it's certainly not going to determine what my position is.
In closing, what do you see? Where do you see Laredo College in terms of the future of the city of Laredo? What can they do to do more?
Well, I think that they need to play a bigger role in the community. I think that's and I think, again, the smile on my face because of Dr. Ramirez is because she knows these nuances. She knows exactly what I'm talking about in terms of playing a greater role in the community. There are some that believe that TAMU has become isolated and it has its own island, and they don't care to be part of this community. They want to have students come in, but they don't want to
switch a little bit, because I remember back, and I hate to mark myself down, but back in the 1980s, when
yourself.
I'm aging myself here, I had a conversation with one of the original board members or people who created Laredo College. And he said, the worst thing that could have happened for Laredo, for politics and for the status quo, was creating Laredo Junior College. Because what you did is you created a new generation of educators, a new generation of Laredoans. And the more people who are educated, they're less likely that there'll be politics involved in our day-to-day lives. And also by doing that, obviously you are picking up the value, you're raising the people's hopes and economic situations that they're in. And he was right, because the best thing that could have happened is that Laredo College did build one in South Laredo, which is going to change. I'm telling you, the best thing Laredo College could have done was doing it in South Laredo.
I agree.
It opened the doors to a lot of people in South Laredo, and it's going to change the way we live in about 15, 20 years from now. Yeah. Because you have a campus in South Laredo.
And that takes time for it to happen. But my point about TAMU is that, TAMU oftentimes is viewed as saying, we're the university, you come to us. We're not going to you. We're not going to be part of you. We're not going to extend ourselves into the community.
But I got to also remind people, back in the 1990s, 80s, when it was just plain old
Laredo State
University, which it was the 80s and 90s. The legislature was trying to get, how do we get our flagship universities, A&M and UT, to have more minority students? They could not attract minority students. So what they did is they just divvied up, or they divided all the junior colleges, all the universities. And what they did is they gave some to UT and some to A&M. And that was why we ended up having TAMU. But we lost our ability to have control of the board, because we're no longer voting for those people.
Right.
They're part of they're part of the governor's appointment process.
Right.
And they don't live in Laredo, Texas.
Well,
and so we lost that control with TAMU.
Again,
and that's why we ended up being A&M instead of being UT.
Right. But my point being is that the university has this aura about it that they're not part of our community. They're somewhat an island unto themselves.
Well, it is, because they're not being controlled by Laredoans. We don't have local people such as yourself,
right,
on the board telling us what we need.
But I think that the college, on the other hand, has an obligation, because they are rooted in our community. I mean, this college has been around since 1947. I mean, this is rooted in our community. It is living in a facility that predates the college, back as a fort.
Exactly.
And so it becomes iconic in the sense that it's been around for so long. Yeah. It has to have a greater reach out of the community. One of the things that I want to talk about as I'm wrapping this up, is in the collaboration piece and the role of the college is as the college grows and the need for off-campus housing comes in, that they collaborate with the city of Laredo as we redevelop our downtown, finding these buildings like the Southern Hotel and others that can be turned into campus dorms, that the college helps the students through scholarship and grants and Pell Grants stuff to find the housing that puts them close to the college, develop a bus system with El Metro that trawls them back and forth. But then you have that population density downtown that is going to frequent the restaurants and the coffee shops and the bookstores, and then eventually the nightlife that goes with that. That's what needs to happen to help raise downtown.
You have the vision part of it, which is very good. I wish
Dr. Benita Ramirez, I think, shares that same vision in the sense that she wants to see the college go out in the community and just be bigger, brighter, be the anchor for education, secondary education.
And I remind everyone who's listening, it's so important that the candidates have a vision. Many of the candidates today are not telling us what the future holds for Laredo, and they're not trying to tell us that they want to control or to some degree affect our future. Yeah. And they should. And I appreciate you doing that today.
It's my pleasure. And I think that, if I could say anything to the voters and the people that are watching, is that the college plays a tremendous role in our community. And as you go down that ballot and you vote at the governor's level, think about how many times you're going to be able to shake the hand of the governor and tell him what your worries are. And as it goes down further down that ballot, being able to talk to your council member and shake his hand, and you've got somebody who's running in your district to be able to run into them at the grocery store. Then come down one more level, one more page, and you see the board of trustees and the school district trustees. And those are the people that you run into on a regular basis on campus and the stores. And the ability to walk up to them and say, I have a concern about how you're spending our money. I have a concern about how you're handling our programs. That becomes so effective. When politics gets to the lowest level, to the local level, it is when it's most effective, because you have a voice and you have two ears. The council members or board members like myself someday, God willing, will have to listen to your concerns. So vote, make sure you go out there and vote, look down ballot. I'm running for Board of Trustees for Laredo College, place 3. Early voting starts on the 24th. The election is November 8th. And so I look forward to everybody coming out and supporting our campaign. Look for our signs, look for our Facebook page to be transitioning, and then also look for us out on the street and say hello.
Well said. Where can they find you then?
If they want to get hold of me, my phone number has been listed for forever, 956-285-2654, 956-285-2654, or really easy, gbelmares@me.com.
Very good. Thank you so much. I
My
appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Thanks.
Thank
Always.
you. And I'll be seeing you soon. Hopefully, you'll be having some type of a grand opening or something.
Yep.
We'll be out there as
We'll
well.
have some events as well.
I want to thank you, the rest of you, for watching the show. This was very interesting, having the two people running for school board or Laredo College. These are the actual people you're going to see at your local HEB store, out there paying bills and in line at the football games and so on. These are the people who we're going to see on a daily basis. So the very least we should do is seriously consider voting for the people on the 3rd and 4th page. Do not forget, because about 25% of the people do not get to the very end. Please consider voting all the way through and make it complete. Thank you for watching this episode. You can like us on Facebook and you can check us out on YouTube. And until next time, I'm Jesus Chugasa. Thank you for watching. We'll see you then. Great job.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.